Hey Tony, it's Friday. And first off, to answer your question of the week, I already have a punishment picked out for you. So here's what it is. On Sunday, or a Sunday you get the chance to, you have to watch an entire Cleveland Browns game with Dad. You can't be on your phone, you can't be reading a book. You have to watch the game and enjoy it. Well, you don't have to enjoy it, but you have to watch the game. So that's my punishment for you. And now for my topic of this week is I want to talk a little bit about mental health. Now, mental health is a serious issue right now. In fact, there was just a report that came out and said that the length of an average human's lifespan has actually shrunk this past year, due in part to primarily two reasons. One, the opioid epidemic, and two, suicide has been a major cause of mortality this month or this year. So I'm going to talk a little about mental health because I know for a fact I've had issues with my mental health before in which I get incredibly stressed, and I tended to not have good ways to get rid of that stress until I just put more stress on myself, and all in all, it's why I have stomach issues and all sorts of things like that. But what I kind of want to talk about is 4 things that I've done in order to improve my mental health. The first one, which has been major, has been going to the gym consistently. Going to the gym has really helped out because it lets me take out some of that extra energy I have, some of the extra anxious energy, one would say, to be able to do that, go work out, come home, be exhausted, and be okay. So that's one thing. Another one that I've done has been, I've done a lot more painting. I've done a lot more mini painting because it's relaxing. It lets me focus on something that's not everything flashing around me, and that's been really helpful. A third thing that I've done has been I've been writing more, and that writing has really helped out as well because it gives me a creative outlet along with the painting. In fact, I've actually been writing somewhat of a story. Now it's going to be cut back a little bit since I start the bar prep process again in a couple weeks. But it's the way it goes is my writing is for a story that I had in mind years ago. And that story itself is it's intended to be as long as a novel, but it probably will never get that point because it's really just a free write. It's a free creative writing. And some of the issues I want to tackle in that story are morality, mortality, and the folly of war and human conflict, which are kind of big themes, but they're pretty easy to address in many situations, and also kind of living in the modern age on how the world is different now. Which leads me to my final thing that I've done to make my mental health better, and that has been to make my internet better. Now, for a long time, it's easy for people to, and I was guilty of this for a while as well, like you go onto social media platforms and look at all of like the terrible things that are happening. I would read the news. I was always hooked into the news almost 24/7. Well, I have stopped that a lot more now, in which I only read the news for about an hour each day, and it gives me an update instead of like constantly going through it. And even further on like social medias and stuff, I've stayed away from political hotbeds or issues that I do not agree with necessarily, and also that I don't feel it's worth my time to look into. Because I still source everything, I still look through multiple sources, but I don't spend as much time dealing with political posts and things like that. I myself am not posting as politically. I've unfollowed on Facebook and other social medias many other strongly political things, because it hasn't benefited me. It wasn't benefiting me at all. In fact, it was making my life aggressively worse. So I've made efforts to make my internet better. Instead of spending a lot of time on Facebook, I spend a lot of time on Reddit, but Reddit gives me the ability to be able to literally choose what I want to look at instead of it all being blasted out in front of me. Whereas like on Facebook, I go on for a short period of time, look at a couple funny pictures, send a couple memes, things like that. Which has kind of helped me because I'm not spending as much time and not focusing as much on all the terrible things happening in the world, because there are some terrible things happening in the world. And it's still important to be knowledgeable about those, but it doesn't have to take over your life the way it did for me for the better part of the past few years. And so I've made my internet better, and I've made my mental health better. And all in all, I've been considerably happier now and better rested, less stressed than I was even just a couple months ago. So Tony, my question for you is, what have you done lately to kind of improve your mental health or help yourself? Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.